Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm Annie Razovitz, the Communications Advisor for the F3 Future of Fish Feed team. I'd like to begin by introducing Dr. Kevin Fitzsimmons, Chair of the F3 team, who will be moderating today's webinar. As many of you may know, Kevin is a professor at the University of Arizona, the former president of the World Aquaculture Society, and currently leading an EU project on sustainable aquaculture in Myanmar. Before we get started, I would also like to let you know that if you have any questions during the webinar, you can type them into the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen, and we will address them during the Q&A session following the panelists' presentations. With that, I'll hand it over to Kevin.
Thank you, Annie. Appreciate it. I want to again welcome everyone and thank you for joining us today for algae and seed oils in Aquafeeds. This is the fourth in our series of monthly F3 webinars that we're hosting on the latest advances in aquaculture feed ingredients to replace fish meal and fish oil. And just as a reminder, why do we need these replacements? Well, it's because wild fish are a declining resource, and without replacements, aquaculture is going to be bottlenecked and cannot grow to feed a world of 9 billion people. But replacements are around the corner. Our seminars feature the most promising ingredients so that aquaculture can continue to grow sustainably. Sorry. Okay, so for our final ingredient focused webinar, we've invited key players from the omega-3 oil market. Because of the declining and fluctuating supply of wild-caught forage fish, the aquafeed industry needs new sources of omega-3 rich DHA and EPA to secure a more sustainable supply chain. Algae and seed oils are on the cutting edge of innovation in this field. Both macro and microalgae, as well as some genetically engineered terrestrial plants, are quickly stepping up to supply both the fish feed and human nutrition markets with omega-3 oils. We look forward to hearing more about their progress, so let's get started. First, we've got Dr. David Hasselbeck, who's the CEO of Global Algae Innovations. David founded Global Algae in 2013 to develop algae solutions for global dilemmas. The company is pre-commercial for aquaculture feed ingredients and is currently in the design phase for a 160-acre farm. David also founded Global Algae Equipment, which is currently selling its first product, the Zobi Harvester, which improves algae harvesting and dewater technology. David received his PhD in chemical engineering from the University of California, San Diego, and has over 30 years experience in chemical and biological research and development. We're thankful to have David's expertise on our panel today. So Alex, let's go ahead with David, please.
Hi, I'm Dave Hazelbeck, CEO of Global Algae Innovations. Thank you for the opportunity to share our vision for creating an abundant and sustainable world and its implications for aquaculture feeds. We call this the algae revolution because algae farming will fundamentally change our agricultural paradigm. Currently, our forests, grasslands, rivers, watersheds, oceans, and even climate are being strained to the breaking point in order to feed the world. The algae revolution involves a transformation in agriculture, where in the future, the majority of our animal and aquaculture feed is produced by algae farms. This will create a world in which there is plenty of land, water, and ocean resources for food and for natural habitats, what we call an abundant and sustainable world. Global Algae Innovations was founded in 2013 with the vision to harness the unparalleled productivity of algae to provide food and fuel for the world, dramatically improving the environment, economy, and quality of life for all people. In order to achieve this vision, we needed to move algae from producing high-value niche products to producing commodities in the food and feed markets. We've developed algae farming methods to produce an algae that's about 40% protein and 45% lipid. We separate this algae into two primary product streams. A meal, which is about 70% protein, that goes into food that can be used for food and feed ingredients, and an oil, which we fractionate into three main products: omega-3s, which would go into feed markets, unsaturated oils, which would go into consumer products and polymers, and saturated oils, which would be used to make jet fuel, diesel fuel, and gasoline. This is a photograph of our current research and development farm. It has 8 acres of raceways, and the largest one is about 3 acres. Conventional algae production technology is 10 times too expensive for commodities. So we have spent the past 7 years developing radical innovations in every process step to reduce the cost of algae farming for products in the $1 to $2 a kilogram range. We have achieved the goals of this technology development and are currently working to scale up this technology suite. Achieving commodity pricing requires both the technology and algae farming at commercial scale. We're envisioning a 2-step scale-up from our current 8-acre facility to 160 acres and then to a 5,000-acre farm. This will reduce the cost from the current high-value products at $20 a kilogram down to about $5 a kilogram at Farm 160, and finally competing with commodities at full commercial scale. We've completed the initial research and development, and we're currently in the design phase for this scale-up and are working to arrange the financing to build and operate the facility. Our current R&D farm is located in Hawaii. Farm 160 is being built in California. We then plan to expand to a 5,000-acre facility in the U.S., followed by rapid and parallel expansion throughout the world. We anticipate building Farm 160 and operating it in 2022, then moving to build Farm 5000 in 2024, followed by a rapid parallel licensing and franchising to expand the number of acres in algae farming to achieve 1 million acres by 2030. I began this talk by describing an abundant, sustainable world. So how does algae farming create such a world? The key is productivity. These two graphs look at protein yield, as a function of land inputs, and water, and as a function of water inputs. The first graph is tons of protein produced per hectare per year. You can see what's been achieved through the green revolution over the past 60 years, about a 3-fold improvement in productivity. Algae farming jumps that another 40-fold. Similarly, looking at water, this is grams of protein produced per liter of water, and comparing algae to many of the other sources of protein, you can see that, again, algae is dramatically higher productivity than any other source of protein. This level of productivity increase is really unprecedented in the history of the world, and it's exactly what we need today to meet our environmental and societal dilemmas. As an example, let's look at deforestation. Despite tremendous international efforts to reduce deforestation rates, we still have rapid deforestation occurring around the world. And that's because of the many societal benefits that come from the farming or palm oil plantations that lead to this deforestation. Algae addresses that root cause by producing more protein, more oil, and more revenue than conventional farms with a fraction of the water and land inputs. As a result, we obtain all of the societal benefits while stopping and reversing deforestation. This is particularly beneficial in Southeast Asia, where algae farms to supply oil to replace palm oil plantations will have a high protein meal and omega-3 co-products that will support a sustainable and growing aquaculture industry. Thank you again for the opportunity to share a little bit about our vision for creating an abundant and sustainable world, and I'd be happy to entertain any questions.
All right, thank you, David. We appreciate that. Our next speaker is Pablo Berner, and Pablo is the aquaculture lead for New Seed. Pablo has an extensive background in salmon farming in Chile and Norway, and holds a master's in aquaculture from the Agricultural University of Norway. He has a passion for fish welfare and improving ocean environments, and uses this experience to support his role educating farmers and production companies about New Seed's Aquaterra product, which is an omega-3 from canola oil that is commercially available now and has the potential to double the world supply of DHA using less than 5% of the current canola acreage. We will hand it over to Pablo to hear more about Aquaterra.
Good morning. Thanks to F3 for inviting us to share Aquaterra, Advanced Omega-3. Aquaterra is a call to the aquaculture industry to nurture the land and sea. New Seed is an international organization. It has grown rapidly since its start in Australia in 2006. Our 4 global regions include Australia, Europe, North and South America. There are over 250 employees working across 11 global locations, including 2 world-class innovation centers, one in Victoria, Australia, and the other one in California. We are global leaders in agronomics and plant breeding, developing new agricultural solutions for environmental challenges, like our novel plant-based source of omega-3. New Seed developed omega-3 canola oil in close collaboration with recognized Australian institutions to increase the supply of DHA for aquaculture and close the existing gap of the essential long-chain polyunsaturated fatty acids. The ocean cannot supply enough to support industry growth. Aquaterra is designed as a feed ingredient, enhance, modernize, and innovate the oil mix for aquafeeds. I would like to invite you to watch the short video.
Until now, fish oil has been the primary source of omega-3 nutrients for the aquaculture and dietary supplement industries. The problem is that the ocean cannot sustainably provide enough omega-3 to meet minimum nutritional needs for an ever-growing global population. Collecting omega-3 from only wild fish pressures ocean ecosystems that provide income and food for people and habitats for marine animals. Consider also that fish ultimately derives omega-3s from microalgae. So why not just go direct to the source? Well, there are some factories growing microalgae for omega-3, helping to take pressure off the ocean. However, it takes lots of water and energy to produce these algal oils, making it an expensive and resource-intensive solution. New Seed takes a new approach by applying biotechnology to deliver the benefits of microalgae through canola, creating a DHA and ALA-rich source of land-based omega-3s. Just 1 hectare of New Seed's omega-3 canola produces an equivalent amount of DHA and EPA. And bonus, it grows on existing farmland, helping to replenish soil and provides habitats for over 2,000 beneficial insects, including honeybees. Plus, our grower contracts create new economic opportunities for farmers by managing the closed-loop supply chain and guaranteeing purchase. This stabilizes supply and costs for the aquaculture and nutrition industries. New Seeds Aquaterra and Nutriterra ensure reliable, renewable omega-3 production.
Aquaterra is a product of sophisticated technology. We insert 5 microalgae genes and 2 yeast genes into canola, giving a land-based crop the genetics to create its own long-chain fatty acids. Our goal was to go all the way to DHA. Aquaterra offers a unique omega-3 profile that improves omega-3 omega-6 ratio, rising significantly the total omega-3 available on the oil. The aquaculture industry recognized the need for new sources of omega-3 and came together to collaborate and validate Aquaterra. Our partners share New Seeds' dedication to innovation and proactive sustainability policies and supported every step of development. One, concept and research development to create our technology. Second, food safety and viability for applications on aquafeed. And third, commercial scale trials conducted in Chile with important fish farming producers and also feed plant manufacturers. Aquaterra is part of recognized industry organizations to promote aquaculture, traceability, and human health. During 2018 and 2019, we performed 3 commercial scale trials. We hope to show Aquaterra is an effective omega-3 oil, but the results exceed our expectations. We show improved mortality rates, improved feed conversion ratio, fish in, fish out reductions, favorable omega-3, omega-6 ratios. Complementing and replacing part of the fish oil from commercial diets. You can see in the left-hand table, trial 1, trial 2, and trial 3 will replace between 60 and 30% of fish oil with a constant EPA DHA content on feed. By the other hand, in the right-hand table, you can see a standard diet today and the possibility which came with Aquaterra, replacing fish oil and also standard vegetable oil with an inclusion of 6%. You can have equal and basis total oil feed content. The results, we evaluate production results, yield, flesh quality, and we can show the feed conversion ratio was and feeding ratio was always very positive for the Aquaterra diet. Among the most surprising results was the improved productivity, seen consistently in all the 3 trials. We attribute this to Aquaterra's unique omega-3 profile, increasing total omega-3 in the fish, which improves health and welfare. The average survivability increases by 2%. This improvement is especially notable when fish are challenged. This chart shows fish mortality. Aquaterra is on the bottom and the control group is on top. The red spikes indicates an outbreak, and you can see the Aquaterra fish fed were more resilient. Aquaterra's unique fatty acid profile provides DHA, EPA, and ELA for a total omega-3 content over 30%. Aquaterra increases the total omega-3 content on salmon fillet. By improving nutrition and adding value, aquaculture can become the center of the plate worldwide. Aquaculture is under pressure to reduce reliance on wild fish for feed. This is both to meet consumer demand for more sustainable food and in the industry need for sustainable growth. Aquaterra, as a partial replacement to fish oil, reduced fish forage dependency ratio oil by 61% and fish in fish out ratio by up to 27%, depending on the inclusion rates on the performed trials. Over the last years, we have been building partnerships within the industry. Best aquaculture practices and Aquaculture Stewardship Council certifications are the most common and recognized certification for responsible aquaculture. Aquaterra is aligned with those certifications. Last year, we had been nominated by the Global Aquaculture Alliance as an Innovation of the Year. We greatly appreciate recognition and customer support. After a period of 6 months evaluation, Nuseed's Aquaterra had been recognized by Friends of the Sea for its responsible production and contribution to maintain ocean's equilibrium. From February 2020, we are proud signatory members committed to the 10 principles of the United Nations Global Compact, working towards sustainable development goals. With this emphasize zero hunger, good health and well-being, industry, innovation and infrastructure, life below water, life on land, and partnership for the goals. Aquaterra facilitates aquaculture growth and is able to double the world supply of DHA. Aquaterra delivers the benefit of omega-3 from seed to feed. The full supply chain is certified, traceable by excellence through stewardship. The Nuseed logistics team built a reliable supply chain from the US to the aquaculture production markets, with the majority of volume heading to Chile at the moment. Oil is a reliable, novel source of omega-3. It is recognized by the industry and scientific leaders to play a major role on aquaculture sustainable growth. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the day.
Muchas gracias, Pablo. And I just want to make a quick note for everybody. If you would please use the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. That'll make it easier for us to get all of the questions in instead of putting them in the chat box. It's a little harder for us to go back and forth. So please use the Q&A box for sending in your questions. Okay, our next presenter, Ruud Pierbooms, is the president of Algae Ingredients for Corbion. Ruud has spent most of his career in commercial roles in specialty food and ingredients and holds a Master of Science degree from Nyenrode Business University in the Netherlands. He joined Corbion in 2014 as Senior Vice President for Food and has since become the President of Algae Ingredients and a member of Corbion's Executive Committee. He is also Chairman of Ingredients for Food Innovators. It's a Dutch business network of food ingredient producers. So today, Ruud is here to discuss Corbion's Algal Prime DHA, which is produced at capacity to meet the supply needs for today and with the ability to expand into the future. So let's see Ruud's presentation, please.
I would like to thank the F3 team for inviting Corbion to participate in this webinar. From the founding days of the F3 effort, we support the research and advocacy work of the organization. My name is Ruud Peerbooms and I'm the president of Algae Ingredients at Corbion. Corbion is a global leader in sustainable food solutions, lactic acid and algae ingredients, and we preserve what matters. Last April, I joined our algae ingredients team after several years in the Corbion food ingredients business. I'm excited about the possibilities offered by the platform because the combination of our algae technology and Corbion's vast experience in large-scale fermentation opens a world of sustainable opportunities for both food and feed applications.
Hello, I am Diana Visser and I am the Senior Director of Sustainability at Corbion. After a career in biotechnology and food ingredient development, I applied my passion for sustainability into practice at Corbion. Our purpose is to preserve what matters by preserving food and food production, preserving health and preserving the planet. Our algae platform is an exciting area for us. It embodies all of Corbion's sustainability principles. Our sustainability efforts are recognized by various sustainability ratings. Corbion received a Platinum Sustainability rating in the EcoVadis CSR assessment, which places us at the top 1% of all suppliers in our sector globally. In addition, Corbion has been recognized for leadership in corporate sustainability by the global environmental non-profit CDP, securing a place on its prestigious A-list for tackling climate change. I look forward to sharing more about the sustainability profile of Algae Prime DHA.
This webinar comes at a critical time. Not only are we in the middle of a pandemic, which has triggered questions about the sustainability of our food chain, we have also seen questions about the sustainability of the fishing industry. There is much to argue about recent publications, but there is no debate about the fact that we can continue to make improvements. So, actually, this may be our moment of opportunity. A recent survey conducted during COVID by a US firm Changing Tastes revealed that 32% of American adults wants to eat less meat. And their number one choice to replace meat is fish and seafood. Another interesting conclusion of the survey was that ocean health and our own health are connected through fish and seafood. And this perspective aligns with what we're seeing in the market. There's more and more focus on improving the nutritional and sustainable aspects of feed formulations. And long-chain omega-3s are taking a center stage. Historically, fish oil was the only direct source of long-chain omega-3s. But fish oil is a limited resource. There is about 1 million metric tons of fish oil harvested from the ocean every year. Seafood farmers depend on fish oil as a key ingredient for aquaculture feed. But with aquaculture production growing rapidly, the demand will exceed supply. And this is especially true for sustainable sources. Microalgae are the producers of long-chain omega-3s. And in the wild, they are at the base of the food chain for fish. By now growing microalgae via fermentation, we take out the middle fish, while still delivering the power of omega-3 to the feed. Algae Prime is an omega-3 rich algae feed ingredient produced by fermentation of sugar, and it's supplied in both liquid and powder to address the different market segment needs. We have been in the market for more than 5 years, and we produce omega-3s at scale. And this means that we have the ability to meet the growing demand. Our production setup is fully circular, and we have documented this in our LCA study. So in short, our algae production supports volume growth of the market. We do this in a sustainable way, and the scale allows us to optimize costs by production efficiency and innovations in strain development. Adoption of Algae Prime is led by the salmon industry, but also the shrimp industry has been increasing the use of Algae Prime substantially over the last 2 years. Numerous studies conducted by the Nofima Research Institute have shown that higher levels of omega-3 improve the health of farmed fish, and this will lead to better production. We now see several salmon farmers moving to increase levels of omega-3 in their feed, and Algae Prime is the perfect solution to do this in a sustainable way. It is estimated that algae omega-3s are now included in approximately 30% of Norwegian salmon feeds, and this number is growing. More farmers are using Algae Prime, and the inclusion levels are increasing. We, as Corbion, are determined to support the industry. And as an example, we are participating in a new Nofima Millennial Salmon study funded by the Norwegian government. This study will lay the necessary foundation for the creation of a salmon product that strikes the key principles for next generations of consumers. As we collectively work to make our industry more sustainable by advocating alternative ingredients, we also need to be transparent about our own sustainability profile. I would like to invite Diana Visser to share an overview of Corbion's and Algae Prime's sustainability profile.
Thank you, Ruud. I'm happy to share that we have completed a full life cycle assessment for Algae Prime DHA. The assessment concluded in 2020 and ISO reviewed, analyzed the cradle-to-gate environmental impact of Algae Prime DHA, covering the full supply chain, so including raw material sourcing and production. Further analysis was done with publicly available data and affirmed that Algae Prime has a lower carbon footprint compared to traditional sources of fish oil. Algae Prime's DHA low carbon footprint is due to three primary elements of its production system. Powered by renewable energy, the Algae Prime facility sits among sugarcane fields and is located next door to a sugarcane mill. The sugarcane waste is used as a renewable source of energy to fully power the sugar mill and the algae facility. High-yield feedstock. Sugarcane used to grow Algae Prime DHA via fermentation is one of the world's most productive sugar sources compared to other sugar feedstock sources like corn and wheat. This means that the more sugar produced per hectare of land, the more omega-3s can be produced per hectare. Efficient use of land. A hectare of land produces both the fuel and the feedstock to grow Algae Prime DHA, with zero deforestation impact confirmed by historical satellite data. As part of our commitment to transparency, the Algae Prime LCA is currently under peer review for scientific publication sometime this year.
These past few months have brought a new perspective, especially for new generations and those who deeply care about protecting and preserving our planet. We believe that health and sustainability will continue to drive the demand for responsibly farmed seafood, and this will require traceable, nutritious, and reliable feed ingredients. At Corbion, we preserve what matters.
Well, thank you, Ruud. We really appreciate that and presentation with your colleague there from Corbion. Okay, next up we have Dr. Karim Gurmali, who is the CEO of Veramaris. Karim has been CEO of Veramaris since it was established in 2018. Previously, he spent 16 years working for Veramaris's parent company, DSM, where he was VP for Animal Nutrition and Health for the Asia, Pacific, and India. At Veramaris, Karim's collaborative approach has been instrumental to the development of the business from concept to reality. Veramaris was the winner of the F3 Fish Oil Challenge, and we're happy that they are partnering again to enter the F3 Carnivore Challenge. Let's hear from Karim and Veramaris's progress to date.
The great news about our Veramaris algal oil is actually we have both molecules, EPA and DHA. So not only do we satisfy the health of salmon, but we also ensure that the food is healthy, nutritious, and ideal for consumers. Our Veramaris algal oil enables retailers to promote salmon sustainably and to promote a very healthy and nutritious salmon to their consumers.
Algae bruker vi for at dyrehelse og miljø er veldig viktig for oss. Åpen og ærlighet, kvalitet og være fremtidsrettet og kunne produsere bærekraftig er veldig viktig for oss.
For us, this is the result of 20 years of innovation, finding a good sustainable source to the omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA. That has been the biggest bottleneck for us, but now we have the solution.
Retailers are the key change agents. In fact, they're fundamental. They've understood that consumers want to know where their food is produced, how it's produced, and the nutritional content. And they're the first ones who've understood that consumers want a sustainably sourced salmon, which is highly nutritious and good for them.
Hello, I'm Karim Krumali, the CEO of Veramaris, and that short video hopefully gave you a snapshot of what Veramaris is about. However, I'd like to start first by thanking Barbara and her team at F3 for giving us this opportunity and for all the support they've given us over the past few years. If you don't yet know us, well, Veramaris produces a sustainable, pure, natural marine algal oil, which is rich in both EPA and DHA omega-3. We're harnessing the best of what nature has to offer, with the mission to expand the world's supply of EPA and DHA omega-3 for aquaculture, pet food, and beyond. We're the first algal oil producer in the world to receive MSC ASC certification and add an estimated 45% to the global supply of MSC certified EPA and DHA omega-3. In fact, integrating Veramaris algal oil into aquafeed can reduce the forage fish dependency ratio for fish oil, FFDR oil, to below 1. This means little or no EPA and DHA omega-3 from fish oil is actually required to raise farm fish and farm shrimp. Now, what problems do we actually solve? Well, one of the biggest challenges in the 21st century is meeting the needs of a growing world population, while not increasing the pressure on our planet's ecosystems. Aquaculture has a significant role to play in feeding the world. It has to grow within planetary boundaries without placing undue pressure on marine biodiversity. In 2020, 22 million metric tons of wild-catch foraged fish, like anchovies, herrings, sardines, were used to produce fish meal and fish oil. These species are rich sources of EPA and DHA omega-3, critical for both human and animal health. But this has led to stocks being fished to their maximum. Aquaculture is the fastest growing food sector. However, its dependence on wild-catch fish for EPA and DHA omega-3 will limit its growth and continue to put pressure on our marine ecosystem. This is where we come in. Veramaris provides a sustainable alternative, a source of natural algal oil rich in both EPA and DHA omega-3 that helps solve this challenge by reducing reliance on wild-catch fisheries, thereby reducing our global impact. Our product can supplement or replace fish oil in aquafeeds and meet the health benefits of seafood. The richness of our algal oil enables farmers to control the nutritional profile of their feed, allowing them to consistently raise a robust and healthier fish. The additional benefit of fish raised on a diet rich in EPA DHA is that consumers receive a product which is nutritionally rich, providing the expected health benefits for proper brain and heart development. This means healthy food for consumers. Well, where are we today? Since winning the F3 challenge in 2019, we have come quite a long way. Today, our algal oil is used to grow salmon, shrimp, trout, steelhead trout, yellowtail, sea bream, and sea bass. We've also launched a shrimp that is entirely raised on our algal oil, a vegetarian shrimp with zero fish meal and zero fish oil. This shrimp is available in all 50 US states today. And despite the challenges we have all faced in the past year due to COVID-19, Team Veramaris tripled production in 2020. And using the F3's own forage fish calculator, Veramaris algal oil produced equated to more than 8 billion forage fish. This remarkable achievement is thanks to the dedication of Team Veramaris, colleagues whose purpose is to make a difference in the world which we live. And I'm very proud to be working with such a great team. So How do we make change happen? Well, we believe in partnerships to create the market. We collaborate along the value chain, talking to farmers, feed millers, processors, distributors, retailers, and the consumer. In fact, within the retail sector, we have seen courageous leaders step up and engage their supply chains to de-risk their supply of seafood. They're also requesting transparency to mitigate reputational risk for both themselves and their consumers. And this is where Veramaris steps in. We collaborate with all parts of the value chain to achieve the continued sustainable production of aquaculture, a source of nutritious, healthy, sustainable seafood. I'm already anticipating the question, is it affordable? And the answer is yes. Today, our algal oil is available across the world, and both fish and shrimp fed on algal oil are available on the shelves of several retail stores and online in 50 US states for shoppers. Our algal oil is 3 times richer than fish oil in EPA and DHA. It's sustainable and it's an affordable solution. Algal oil has also been shown to grow the salmon category at certain retail stores and allows the farmer to reverse the decline in omega-3 in the fillet and produce a unique product. Well, what lies in the future for us? Well, at Veramaris, we're constantly innovating, making continuous improvements to provide our customers with a high concentration algal oil, rich in both EPA and DHA omega-3, and ultimately making our contribution to healthy fish, healthy food, healthy oceans. We have come a long way. Alternative feed solutions like ours are here now and available at scale. And we're economically viable. And leaders in the industry are seeing the opportunity and taking advantage. My colleagues in Team Veramaris are here to support you to make it happen at speed. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kareem. It's great to see you again. And what we would like to do next is to bring our panelists on board here, briefly introduce yourselves. And we also want to welcome Katrina Benedicto, who is the Director of Marketing and Communications for New Seed. And she'll be answering questions on behalf of New Seed and Pablo. So again, to our audience, don't forget to type your questions into the Q&A box so that we can address them now and as we go through these questions. So let me turn it over to Alex for the introductions. And how about if we start with David, please.
Hi, I'm Dave Hazelbeck, CEO of Global Algae Innovations. It's a pleasure to be here with you and be happy to talk about any questions regarding algae oil. I think you're muted, Kevin.
Sorry, Grim, go ahead, please.
Hi, everyone. And great to be here. And thank you very much, Kevin, for moderating it. And thanks to all in the panel. And thanks again to F3 for the invitation. Pleasure to be here.
And Ruud, good to see you again. Why don't you go ahead, please? And you're muted now, Ruud.
Yeah, the common mistake during home office. So good morning, everybody. My name is Ruud Pierre Booms. I'm the president of Algae Ingredients at Corbion. Thank you for letting us participate in this webinar. Very interesting.
Thank you, Ruud. And Katrina, please introduce yourself.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Katrina Benedicto, and I am the Director of Marketing and Communications for New Seed Nutritional.
All right, thank you. Well, we'll just jump right into the questions then. First one here for David. In your open ponds, are you working with just one target species of algae, or do you have a suite of algae that you're taking from a community that develops in your ponds, in your raceways?
Yeah, we're growing a single strain at a time. So we have grown a number of different strains, but we have one primary strain that we're looking at for this particular application for protein and for the various oils that I talked about.
Thank you, appreciate that. Katrina, we have a question here also, that with your canola, do you anticipate any kind of problems with climate change? I know it's more of a temperate crop, so what do you think?
Well, I mean, with any kind of agriculture or aquaculture, you're going to be dealing with the elements and nature, but we've specifically selected canola for its resilience and for the fact that it's grown on 4 different continents with regularity. It's grown without water. At least all of ours is grown without water, and it's grown with sunshine. So as long as we've got water from rain and sunshine, we'll be okay. We're accustomed to dry farming.
Okay, good, thank you. All right, Ruud, Algal Prime contains primarily DHA. And so for farms, are they going to need to use a mix of DHA and EPA? That what you recommend for people for salmon diets, etc.?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, of course, I mean, our strain produces DHA. And of course, today, I mean, looking at the formulations of feed, I mean, formulations or feed formulations are, of course, a mixture of different ingredients. What we see so far is that indeed adding DHA to the formulation will not necessarily create a lack of DHA or EPA, sorry, because that's also coming from the other ingredients in the mix. But of course, I mean, we recognize that inclusion levels need to or could increase in the future. So that's also why we work with both our customers, but also with research institutes to continuously increase EPA levels and therefore, let's say, monitor results. And we see also, let's say, gradual increase of the DHA only products. So therefore, I mean, in a combination, it is of course proven, but for the future, I mean, we see further increases of DHA alone.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Karim, the question for you is, what fermentation systems are available to produce Veramaris algal oil for a local market within Southeast Asian region?
Whoa, that's a tough one for me. I have to say, I haven't actually looked into Southeast Asia, so I personally could not answer that question at this moment in time. If you ask me about Europe, I can answer because we've got a landscape of fermentation systems in Europe, but that's a good one. I'll have to look into that and come back to whoever is interested in that question.
All right, thank you. Here's one that it's addressed to Katrina, but I think it would really apply to everyone. So I'll kind of give everybody a chance to take a short answer at this. So how much did the diet price of feed increase when substituting conventional oil, fish oil, with Aquaterra? So Katrina, I'll let you start with that, but we'll let everybody have an answer at that.
Well, Aquaterra has the benefit of being derived from canola, which works within existing infrastructure. It really helps keep our scalability available and our prices low because we are working within existing agricultural systems to be able to produce and transport this product. That said, the technology behind it is affordable. It's comparable to fish oils, and in our commercial scale trials, which included over 3 million fish in the study, showed that fish fed an Aquaterra diet actually decreased mortality by 2%. So in addition to being comparable in feed, you actually increase your ROI by having more production yield.
All right, thank you. So Ruud, same question.
Yeah.
You have lots of people in commercialization now?
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, I mean, we make a statement about being affordable. And so the way we look at affordability is to deliver omega-3, because of course that's what the of interest for our customers. So we really compare fish oil at omega-3 levels with our product. Our product obviously is higher concentrated than fish oil. So of course on the kilo price you will see us more expensive, but we strive affordability to be comparable with fish oil on an omega-3 basis.
Okay, good. David, same question.
So as you noted, we're pre-commercial, so I can't say in terms of when we've replaced it, but I can say that our targets for all of our production is to be competitive, be equal to or lower than fish oil prices on an omega-3 basis. Also, I should note this is a photosynthetic system, so we actually have the reverse oil of almost everybody else. Ours is high in EPA and lower in DHA. It has both, but it's much more EPA than DHA.
All right, thank you. And Karim.
So the key point, I guess, is the feed more expensive? And the way we should look at it is this way. If you have an algal oil, which is, let's say, 2.5 times more concentrated than Peruvian fish oil or 3 times more concentrated than Atlantic fish oil, it utilizes less space in the feed formulation. That's the first thing. And thereby, by utilizing less space in the feed formulation than fish oil, you're able to bring in additional cheaper raw material ingredients into that feed formulation. So in essence, the total feed cost should not necessarily increase. Furthermore, you're actually transporting less product across the ocean, because the Veramaris algal oil, as I've said, is 2.5 times more concentrated than Peruvian and 3 times more concentrated than North Atlantic. So the opportunity to actually negate increase in feed costs is there. And that's why, as we were saying, it is definitely affordable. And that's why you've got salmon and shrimp on the supermarket shelves today. So a smart feed formulationist can truly reap the benefits of algal technology.
Okay, good, thank you. David, another question for you. You cited a 10-fold cost reduction, and the question we received was, I think you just can give a rough percentage. How much of this was economy of scale versus new innovations or inventions, like your harvester, for example?
Yeah, so it's almost all inventions. That's really all we've been focused on for the last 7 years. So we haven't really focused on the product development until just recently, because we needed to be able to make a cost competitive product before we started looking at the different markets we could go into. And so, as you mentioned, the harvester is 100 times less energy than traditional algae harvesting technology. We have an extraction system that uses 20 times less energy than typical extraction. Our inoculation system is 1,000 times smaller. We use 6 grams of algae inoculum to make 3 metric tons of product. So it's a much smaller inoculation system. And I mean, I could go through the whole thing. We list out 65 major innovations, of which 11 we consider major breakthroughs, where there were more than an order of magnitude change in one of our target areas.
On your Zobi harvester, can you give us just a rough idea? Is this a rotating drum type filter or spray filter? What?
Yeah, it's a dead end hollow fiber membrane filter, similar to what's used in wastewater treatment. And the big innovation we've done is figured out how to use that and still get high fluxes and high concentration. So we can take it all the way from pond levels, which in open pond systems is very dilute, about 1 gram per liter, all the way up to 200 grams per liter in a single membrane filtration system.
Excellent. Okay, good to know. Thank you. So here's one for Katrina. For new seed, is the product available for markets with GMO limitations?
We do have regulatory advancement in several markets around the world. We are currently providing quite a bit of product to Chile and the fish producers in that region. And keep posted on the news. You'll see some new regulatory announcements coming shortly. I'll leave it at that.
Okay, good. We'll look for good news there. All right. Karim, can you tell us more about your partnership with Epengran to produce your fish-free feed for shrimp?
Yes, certainly. We were able, together with a major integrator in Ecuador called Epengran, to work with them and remove fish meal and fish oil from their shrimp feed. So in a sense, they've got a plant-fed shrimp, totally vegetarian, which they're introducing or have it already introduced into the US market, and now making it available for the European market. But it's a wonderful product, primarily because it has literally zero fish meal and zero fish oil. So I think we're very excited. They're very excited, and a number of retailers who've already onboarded it and actually gave us results literally last week were very, I would say, impressed with the taste, texture, and most importantly, the high profile of omega-3 in the shrimp. The actual results showed that there was 3 times more omega-3 in the shrimp than regular standard shrimp. And that, I have to say, we were not necessarily planning for that. But once we understood the shrimp physiology and digestive tract, we understood how and why. At least we have an understanding as to how you can actually get a higher level of omega-3 into shrimp, which is something that we will actually work on with other partners as well, more than likely in Asia Pacific, because I think shrimp with a higher level of omega-3 could actually be a completely new position and category versus the traditional shrimp. So we're quite interested in that. I don't have all the answers as to how we will market that or support, but the fact that there is this opportunity, I think it excites us all in Team Veramaris.
Great,
thank you.
Great news. Okay. All right, Ruud, we had another question here. Not sure if you can share this. How many kilos of sugar is needed to produce 1 kilo of oil? And then where does the waste go?
Yeah, well, thank you, because that's actually a very interesting question. So, first of all, let's say we're looking at different angles when we look at yield. That's of course how many kilos of sugar we use, but also at how fast can we get the product to produce, and especially at how much concentration can we get out of 1 kilo of sugar. So the kilo of sugar is not per se determining the price or the cost alone. It's also the other parts. And then to the second part of your question, because I think that's even more interesting, we have no waste. So we harvest sugar. Yeah, the sugar part of the cane goes into the fermenter and is being eaten by the algae. The waste, what we call bagasse, goes into a burner and is burned for steam and for electricity. And that we also get over the fence from the sugar mill. So we have a closed system on energy and heat. And then when you look at our biomass, I mean, indeed, we make a liquid suspension, meaning that also there are no biostreams from the product as such. So we ferment, and then basically the entire algae product goes into liquid suspension and is supplied as such to the customers. Also there we have basically eliminated waste and therefore make a whole algae product but suitable in an application for customers. Hope that answers your question.
I hope so. Yes, it does to me. Thank you. Okay. This is for everyone, and it's going to apply to your different products. So are there any particular challenges or advantages to these novel sources of omega-3s when it comes to oxidation and oil quality when producing the feed or in the final product? So Katarina, why don't we start with you?
I don't have a comparative analysis for how our oil oxidizes next to fish oil on hand. So I wish I could answer that for you right now. I cannot.
Okay, that's all right. I'm not sure anybody can, but let me go ahead and go around. Ruud, what do you think?
Yeah, sorry. I mean, in my introduction, I stated that I had a business degree. So sorry, on this one, I have to take a pass. But I mean, happy to connect you with our nutrition team to answer these questions, because I'm sure that our team have a full answer on this one.
Yeah, okay. Karim, any chance to know that one off the top of your head?
If you can repeat the question, I'll give it a go.
They took it off my screen here, but basically it was, how does your product compare with the oxidation of other traditional fish oil?
Okay, I would say
oxidation or rancidity compared to what normal oil would be.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that our algal oil is protected using natural tocopherols, which are antioxidants. So in a sense, we guarantee a shelf life of 12 months for this particular product. So in that respect, it's very similar, I would say, to fish oil. The key point with the algal oil, obviously, is you have a consistent product 365 days a year, 24/7, which, unlike fish oil, fluctuates seasonally and obviously depends on which fishery you source it from. So I think that's another key advantage of the algal oil, the algal technology that is available at the moment. Yeah, but I would say no real difference between algal oil and fish oil.
Okay, thank you, appreciate that. David, any chance you guys have done any of that?
So we haven't done it yet. We're actually just starting feed trials this year. That is something we're measuring at each step right now, though, is rancidity as it moves through and checking that. And we're using the standard techniques, though, for preventing oxidation of the fatty acids.
Good, thank you. That's big help. Okay, so here's another one. The use of land-based products has resulted in a decline in the DHA content of salmon meat and an increase in linoleic acid content typical of seed oils. Anybody want to comment on that particular aspect?
I'd like to take that one.
Please do.
What we've been finding is that what happens when Aquaterra is included as the partial replacement for fish oil, that we actually not only increase the total omega-3 in the harvested fillet with an NQC cut, we also have an improved balance in the omega-6 to omega-3 ratio. It's because the technology that goes into our canola oil, not only does it have the DHA EPA comparable to fish oil, it also has an extremely high level of ALA in there, which helps with that balance, but we find that it forward converts into EPA too. It's really quite beneficial to the overall composition of the oil feed.
Okay. Ruud, you have any comment on that?
Yeah, so I mean, we of course, I mean, we deliver indeed a combination of both products, but indeed our focus is if you can bring in highly concentrated omega-3 sources, because in the end, you will have to sort of have a competition for different ingredients in the feed formulation. So we really believe that it is important to bring in highly concentrated omega-3 ingredients so that you can really improve that balance, basically restore, let's say, restore nature as such. So bringing in high concentration of omega-3 will take up less space and therefore restore those balances.
Okay. Karim, I think you kind of addressed it already, but anything to add?
I think what Ruud said is very clear. And I think the algal technology offers the salmon industry a unique opportunity to reverse the decline of omega-3 due to the scarcity and unpredictability of fish oil. Now, and at scale, salmon farmers, shrimp farmers, well, aquaculture farmers have a predictable, consistent product. And by utilizing a consistent product, it lends itself to reversing the decline of omega-3 but more importantly, allows you to then make a label claim, because then you, for once, you have a consistent omega-3 profile in the feed and hence in the flesh. Just like we did with the shrimp. If we consistently find ×3 more omega-3 in the shrimp, we'll be able to motivate retailers and even the producers to start to label that. And that really is healthy food for consumers. And my point is, I think if consumers are provided an informed decision, in other words, can view the pack, can read the labels on the pack, they will make the right purchase. So I think the algal technology, as Ruud said, high concentrations, consistency, that's going to be, I would say, the new breakthrough in aquaculture, that we're going to start to see labeling and branding backed up with clear labeling of omega-3 levels in seafood.
Okay, good, thank you. Okay, next question is, the questioner says he assumes that your oils would lack any heavy metal contamination that's common in fish oils. And does that translate into less heavy metal contamination in the end fish product? And they're interested in any statistics or study that verifies that. So, David, you want to handle that first?
We don't have the studies yet, but we do have very low metal. So yeah, it's going to be much lower metal content. All of our water is recycled within the system. So any metals that come in with the water are taken out in the first batch, essentially, that you harvest out. And then it's pretty much, from the harvester, it's all recycled. It's clean water. And so therefore there's no metals really entering the system. And I would say that it goes for the protein as well, because the protein meal that we're producing, we also look as an aquaculture feed ingredient. It's highly digestible.
Sure.
And so for both the protein meal and the oil.
Yeah, yeah. Katrina, new seed?
Well, all of our oil is processed and filtered, but there's not going to be the heavy metal contaminants or bioaccumulation in a plant-based product.
Ruud?
Yeah, so here we really benefit also from, as I explained before, the experience that we have as Corbion with large-scale industrial fermentation. So basically, we buy sugar and other nutrients, and all of them are clearly specced on every, let's say, in every detail of what we want to bring in. And that means if we don't bring something into our plant, because we have a closed system, it won't also come out. So it's really having a clear control on your feedstocks and your raw materials, and then basically the product is also free of contaminants. So we check at the beginning, we check at the end, and basically that guarantees us to be contaminant free.
Okay, good, thank you. Okay, let's go on to the next question here. Again, kind of for everyone. For industrial applications in the feed mills, what are the advantages of delivering product in liquid form or powder form? So, Karim, why don't you address that
Certainly.
first?
So, quite a large portion of fish feed today utilizes fish oil as a source of omega-3. So it lends itself that when we are producing an algal oil, it's readily applicable for the fish feed industry. In fact, the fish oil is actually vacuum coated after the extrusion of a fish pellet. And now algal oil basically fits into that system. So it's fully applicable and utilizable in fish feed. Similarly, in shrimp feed, fish oil can either be, if it's extruded, be vacuum coated post extrusion and or applied in feed mixers in a spraying device, which is what and how fish oil is used. So that's one of the reasons why with Veramaris we went for a pure algal oil solution to enable our stakeholders and our clients not to have the issue of application problems or handling. So algal oil basically replaces fish oil in any feed mill. So application is not an issue at all. You don't have to invest in additional equipment or stirrers or whatever. You just simply pipe it through your system as you would have done fish oil. Hence, it's a direct replacement.
Okay, good. Thank you. Ruud?
Yeah, so we have, let's say we are looking, so we have both products. We have a liquid version and a powder one. And basically, what our direction is that we allow our customers base to make the choice and to produce with what they have today. So in some applications, for example, we see shrimp or feeds that use no extrusion. Powders are preferred because all the other raw materials are also in powder, and then they are blended together. Obviously, in some other applications, it's a liquid form, especially in extrusion or vacuum coating. And then, of course, a liquid product can be produced. So, I mean, both areas are possible. We have an application team with a fully equipped lab to basically test all the different applications. And even if both would be an option, then we're more than happy to support that type of work to see in advance which one would fit best, and then, I mean, use it to your liking.
Great. Katrina?
Our product is currently available only in oil form. There might be other products in development. As in oil, it is a drop-in replacement for fish in terms of ease of formulation.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And David?
So our oil would be also a liquid form. Right now, it's a co-product, really, or byproduct from our separations, because we're primarily making oil for polymers and oil for fuel. And when we separate that, we also get a separate stream that comes out that's omega-3s. It's about 15% of our oil product. And so that'll be a liquid, the protein's a powder.
Okay, good, thank you. So here's a question from China. Are any of you selling product in China? Do anybody have distributors there?
Yes.
For selling into aquaculture industry?
Yeah.
So David, no. Ruud?
Yes, we
Yes.
do. Yeah, we are, let's say, we have imported the first product. We are finalizing, let's say, all the regulatory data. But yes, we are, expect as from next month, give us 1.5 months to be really sure we will be able to supply in China. So happy to connect with you to see what is possible in the Chinese market.
Thank you. Katrina, you guys selling anything in China yet?
Not yet. Again, we just launched commercially less than a year ago. So China's definitely on the radar, but we're not ready right now.
All right, sure. Karim, yeah.
We've got a distributor for the pet food sector. And actually, we're looking for a distributor for the aquaculture sector. But yes, we're registered. And we just need the GAC certification to finalize. So as Ruud was saying, we also are in perhaps a few weeks or months, but definitely this year. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's quite exciting as well. Completely different market. So yeah, lots to learn.
But a huge market, nevertheless. So.
Exactly.
Okay, and I know I have a similar question from Vietnam, so we'll just keep that. Hopefully somebody finds a distributor in Vietnam soon.
Well, Vietnam, we're there. So if there's a question for Vietnam, no issue. Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay. I had that question yesterday from somebody, so I'll get them in touch.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Ruud, this just came in. The recent life cycle analysis results show that Algae Prime has lower carbon footprint than fish oil. Can you explain why this is and what this means for Algae Prime?
Yeah. Well, the reason why it's lower is, of course, we do not add any additional energy. So having a 100% green energy stream from, like I explained before, we burn the bagasse of the sugarcane, therefore generate steam and electricity at the same time. And that really gives us a huge benefit, in combination with the fact, of course, that we very efficiently transform then sugar into omega-3. gives us also a low footprint from, let's say, raw material point of view. So that's basically the combination. Our LCA study will be published soon. It is being peer reviewed because we really believe in, we can say whatever we want, but we really want to have the opinion of other people to judge what we are doing. So transparency and sustainability go hand in hand. So measure what you do, be transparent about it, and therefore we say we want to have our LCA peer reviewed so that people can comment, and then we will publish it. We're already sharing them with customers. Again, we want to be fully transparent. So, so once it is fully publicized, I mean, everybody can look into how, let's say, we build our carbon footprint cycle and how we look at that.
Okay, good. Here's kind of a related question for Katrina. Aquaterra was just certified as a sustainable omega-3 by Friend of the Sea. What was required to meet this certification, and why was this a priority for New Seed?
Well, the Friend of the Sea certification, while it says Friend of the Sea, we went through the Friend of the Earth certification process, which really went deeply into our agricultural practices, what our expectations are in terms of stewardship and land management with any of the contracted farmers that we work with, as well as the whole production from our seed production, the transportation, and even the manufacturing process for our oil crushing and transport. So it's really been identified through this vetting process that our product is not only reducing pressure on the sea, but has a very positive benefit to the farm environment where we're growing. One of the things that we've committed to is that we do not use new farmland for any of our production, that we go in and work with an existing canola farmland, or even better, to be grown as an off-cycle rotational crop to be able to prevent fallow for any season, which is beneficial to soil too.
Okay, great. Okay. I think you guys have probably already answered this, but let me go ahead and pose it anyway. Will the algae oil or seed oil affect the feed palatability? Has anybody found any problems or benefits, I guess?
Yeah. Maybe I can answer that. I mean, we have done numerous studies on Algae Prime, and basically what we saw is that we actually increased the palatability of the feed while using algae. We are doing more research on that because, of course, it's an interesting point. Yeah, but the palatability clearly showed in a study done in Norway to be higher. But so more work to be done, but it seems to have a positive impact.
Great. Katrina, please.
Are we referring to the palatability of the fish feed or the palatability of the fillet?
I think they're talking in this case of the feed to the fish, yeah.
Well, based on our feed conversion rates and the growth and feed intake, it looks as though the fish do appreciate the taste of the Aquaterra inclusion.
Okay, great. And Karim, I assume the same?
Yeah, I would say there's no difference, I would say. However, interestingly, and that's just a short note, is actually with companion animals, we've actually proven a higher preference for algal oil relative to fish oil in dogs and cats. Don't ask me why, and don't ask me the details. We're still investigating, but we've done it twice in prescribed trials, independent, I would say, and yeah, good results. We're trying to figure out why. It's obviously that something with companion animals, dogs and cats, that they just have a better palatability system than we have to differentiate between an algal oil and a fish oil, thankfully. So welcome results. But that's what I wanted to share with you.
Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, oh, this is kind of a global question. How can we manage the competing demand between the demand for fuel and food? Is algae and other new plant-based products able to have the efficiencies and sustainability characteristics? David, why don't you take that one first?
Sure. So absolutely. I mean, the product we're making has a fuel component, has a consumer product component, the omega-3s for fish oil, as well as a protein. And we're actually making far more protein per acre than you could get from a conventional crop. So in addition to the fuel, you're getting far more protein from that same acreage. So that's the big advantage of algae, is that you can meet both the fuel and food needs without, and at the same time actually use less acreage than we use now for food.
Okay. And kind of a similar question came in regarding cane sugar in Corbion's case. So Ruud, why don't you address that?
Yeah, obviously, I mean, we while we use, let's say, cane sugar as a feedstock, opposite to fish oil, I mean, we see a different input cost variation than we see with fish oil. I think one of the advantages of algae is that it's the same production all year round. We ferment, we do not ferment. We are not dependent on nature for a fermentation process. We do it in a fermentation, in a fermenter. And so that means that the production is very stable. With the sugar input cost, obviously, I mean, now we see some increases, but in some cases you also see decreases here. We really make use of the fact that Corbion is also using large amounts of sugar for the production of lactic acid. So we are a large buyer of sugar. And therefore, our system to manage pricing and to guarantee price stability is already in place. So we're just banking on what we already have. And of course, we try to manage that as well as we can. We've talked about, let's say, this comparison with the market, and that's what we're committed to. So using our systems, we think we do not need to follow the market very short, but we can extend those impacts, and then make sure that our customers are getting more stable prices throughout the year and throughout the years.
Okay, good. And Karim, we had kind of a similar one about corn and Veramaris, and corn prices increasing recently.
That's correct. I mean, corn prices, I think wheat prices, a lot of soft commodity prices have increased. However, similar to other panelists, we have long-term contracts, so we're in a sense covered. And to also another point is we're continuously improving the capability of our algae, such that actually it requires less and less sugar to produce more and more oil. And this continuous improvement program has been ongoing. In fact, we intend to launch very soon a new algal oil product, which has even richer EPA and DHA than the previous. We're going to do a soft launch, so that also adds to the improvement or the capability of the algae to convert sugar into omega-3 oil. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's how we work on it. We not only hedge ourselves on sugar, but we also continuously improve the capability of the strain. And it's a continuous learning process. It's biology, and it's learning. You know.
Yeah.
Learning by doing.
Very good. All right, and Katrina, we'll give that to you also. I mean, we know canola tends to grow in higher latitudes, so climate warming is probably going to be good for you guys, but why don't you address that?
I don't think I can. You're talking about the cost of inputs into it? I'm sorry.
No, just just the fact that this is kind of going back to feed demand versus use for making a fish oil replacement.
Well, just like the other commodities, canola has gotten to be significantly more expensive this year. As we go into our contracts, we do need to make sure that we're remaining competitive to our farmers, but it's also important to know that our product has inherent value in it because of the product, the output of the DHA and the EPA. We're not expecting any significant increase in prices because of commodity prices right now.
Okay. Oh, goodness. We got a last question that may be the best. So this will go for everybody. What would the panelists like to see happen to help speed the adoption of alternative omega-3 sources and help to reach scale? What is the role of regulators and certifiers? And should something similar to the E10 mandate for fuel in Europe be applied for aquafeeds? So, Ruud, why don't you start with that? You have the biggest grin.
No, I mean, honestly, looking at let's say the speed of adoption, it's not per se, let's say, regulation that is holding us back. Obviously, depending on the region, so in Europe, aquafeed, it is pretty okay. Obviously, there are areas in the world where regulation could be helped, and where regulation doesn't 100% fit. But honestly, that's not the first how do you say, the major hurdle. I would say the major hurdle is more in ourselves as an industry. I mean, change is hard, and you see that usually one change requires another change. So what we're trying to do here is basically adapt the entire supply chain from the beginning to the end. So it's also to all of us to smoothen the next steps for people in the value chain, but also let's say for people to sometimes do it a little bit different than how we have done it before. If we think that with the same input we get the same output, I think there has been one famous person that said something about that. That's called madness. So if you want to get change, you have to change yourself. So I would say to all the people at the team here at the webinar here today, let's drive change together, and then I'm sure we'll make it done.
Okay, David, you want to add something?
Well, I would say for us, it's kind of totally different, I'd say, than the other products here, because everybody else is taking advantage of an existing cultivation or production infrastructure. We're creating a whole new production system. And so our issues are a little different than everyone else's. And so for us, getting to scale is the primary impediment right now. And we're moving that direction. We're hoping to build out next year, but that's really the key stepping stone right now is scaling this new technology or new cultivation process up so that it can be competitive with the other existing processes.
And you're looking at someplace in Southern California for that second farm?
We're actually building it in the central coast of California. So it's, it's a little bit inland there in a farming community.
Okay, good, thank you. Karim?
I would say policy regulations, E10 helps. It supports and it accelerates adoption of new technologies. But more importantly, the point is this, an idea like E10 would definitely support and remove pressure on our fisheries, allowing certain fisheries, particularly those which are overfished, to recover. So I would say, beyond our own business, looking at the planetary issues and challenges that we're all facing with regards to decimation of terrestrial and, more importantly, marine biodiversity, an E10 policy will help support recovery of fisheries, which I think is critical. So beyond our business, I think we need to motivate regulators to do what is required not only just to enable algal technologies to be adopted, but I think more importantly is to look at everything we can do to enable fisheries to recover. And if E10 is the idea, then yes, let's do it. If we benefit, okay, we do. But more importantly, it's what are we going to do to address the challenges our planet is facing, which is decimation of biodiversity and obviously climate change. So I welcome it from that perspective.
Great, thank you. And Katrina, we'll give you the last word.
Well, thank you for that. I think a major part of what's going to happen in driving change here is actually consumer demand and consumer awareness. One of the things that's positive that's come out of COVID is that there's actually this great deal of optimism that consumers have developed for seeing the immediate changes in greenhouse gases after we all started to stay home. People feel empowered to be able to make change. And all of the products that we're putting out there positively impact change with the industry. There's more awareness of what's happening in terms of the ocean and what's really not a sustainable way for us to be able to grow aquaculture to its fullest potential to feed people as efficiently as possible. I'm grateful for everyone at this table to be able to have wonderful options there. And I do believe that it's going to be a combination of industry committing to its own sustainable growth, to regulation from government agencies, and really our commitment to educating and creating demand from the consumer. A lot of that should be coming from institutional purchasing, whether it's large retailers like the Walmarts and the IKEAs of the world, or whether it's going to major university systems like University of California that has massive purchasing within the United States. That's where I see the change happening. And I believe that what we are at is the beginning of a new industry.
Great. Well, thank you very much. We really appreciate that from everyone. And just as a reminder, let me just give everybody just another minute or two to any closing remarks. So, David, anything you want to add?
I would just echo, the result, what was just said, which is basically, all of us up here are working on ways to improve the Earth, especially improve our sustainability for biodiversity, both on land and in the ocean. And so we need all of the above. And it's not that, and all of us need to succeed in order to really bring about the change that's needed.
Great, thank you. Karim.
I would reiterate exactly what David said. I think feeding 10 billion in 2050 is going to take a lot of talent, a lot of brain power, and thankfully, with the guidance, I think what F3 is doing in cultivating that, I think is very critical. I hope you understand how important you all are in the F3 in making this happen. I really think we have a mountain to climb. It's not going to be easy readdressing some of the challenges that we're facing on the planet, but the technologies which are coming to the front, as long as they're adopted at scale and rapidly, I think they will be successful. So we need every NGO, certification body, as Katrina said, retailer like Walmart, courageous leaders to take also the initiative and the first step in the right direction together with us all. We're all here for the continued sustainable growth of aquaculture.
Good. Ruud, anything to add?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. No, I mean, it's clear that although, let's say, the last 2 years have been dreadful in many ways, I mean, in the world, I think it has also brought something good, and that's sometimes, of course, strange to say with all the bad things that happen, but I think it has opened people's minds. So I think next to all of us, indeed, we are all working here on a sustainable, on the improvement of the industry. I think the good thing is that consumers' minds have opened, and of course, it's up to us to support that and really make sure that that's sort of the new normal. It's a buzzword, But I think going back to the old normal is not a direction we should go. So we need to enable that new normal. Yeah, and what does that mean? True sustainability. The word has been mentioned a lot, but to me that means be transparent and make sure that you don't fight over sustainability, who is most sustainable, but just prove it. I mean, the Sustainable Development Goals and the science-based targets are nice models to really build on what you do. So sustainability, science-based, then make it affordable. Of course, a lot of people are talking about price, but I think if people are willing to change, consumers are willing to change, then also enable that change, not with a premium that is sustainable, not reachable for the masses. So it should deliver consumer products that are affordable for everybody. And then thirdly, that enables skill. I mean, more demand enables skill, but skill also enables affordability. So I really see affordability and skill as a combination. So we have to drive volume, build on the positive momentum that COVID has brought us, and then change the world. So, and I think with everything, sustainability, affordability, and skill, we have the key in hand. So let's make the change. I'm positive.
Thank you. All right. And Katrina.
I want to say thank you to F3 for putting together a visionary challenge to be able to remove the sea from the seafood, that it is possible to be able to make sustainable feed options or more sustainable feed options with grander visions, that if we can't imagine it, it won't happen. So thank you for putting that out there.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Let me just make a couple final comments here. And but before we want to wrap up, I do want to give all thanks to all of you for your time and your comments, all the information you were able to share. And let you know that we had between the Zoom and the live stream about 27,900 people who were listening in today. So thank you all for that. For years, we've been replacing fish oil. Has been a daunting technical challenge, but as we've seen here today, there are several strong substitutes in the pipeline and even available now. These ingredients bring hope for a future of feed that is not dependent on dwindling marine resources, but instead strengthened by having multiple tools to meet nutritional requirements. We hope this seminar was helpful to learn more about omega-3 oils and their use to replace fish oil and aquafeeds. I'd like to invite you all to our next webinar on emerging trends with alternative feeds for salmonids, which will be June 17th at 5 a.m. GMT, 1 p.m. Beijing time. Also, before we go, please just take a couple of minutes to watch the closing credits here on this video from the F3 team. And thank you all again.
Thank you.